achieve your goals. How to achieve your goals. Allow me to preface this sermonic presentation simply by suggesting to each and every one of you this morning that everybody present here this morning has a goal in life. Some of us have more than one goal in life. Whether your goal is short-term or whether your goal is long-term, the reality is you have a goal in life. Whether you know it or not, you have something that you are trying to accomplish in this life. Our problem is not coming up with goals. Our problem is achieving the goal that we came up with. Are you listening to me?
Come on.
Our problem is not coming up with goals. We have no problem finding a goal that we want to achieve. Our problem is we seldom achieve the goals we came up with. In January, you made what you call a New Year's resolution. You had a goal, but you have not achieved your goal. Your New Year's resolution was probably the number one, to lose some weight. But you have not yet lost a single pound. You have not achieved your goal because you did not know how to achieve your goal. You had one, but you did not have a strategic plan or process to achieve the goal that you had come up with. It's the reality that we have no problem making goals, but we often have a problem achieving the goal that we came up with. There's a word straight from the Word of God that's been sitting on your shelf all week long that you have not opened since last week. It's been a gold mine sitting right there that's waiting to tell you how you can achieve your goals in life. It's found right here in Proverbs chapter 4, verses 23 through 27. How to achieve your goals in life. There's a gentleman by the name of Gilbert. Gilbert was a native of Dallas who had an old college friend who lived in Houston. Gilbert had made arrangements to visit his old college buddy in Houston one day and spend the day with him. The problem that Gilbert had was that Gilbert had limited resources. He didn't have a whole lot of money. So what Gilbert decided to do in preparation to keep his word to his friend that he was going to visit him from Dallas was he calculated how many miles it was going to require him to travel to make it from Dallas to Houston and then back from Houston to Dallas. Once Gilbert calculated how many miles it was going to take him to travel from Dallas to Houston and then from Houston back to Dallas, Gilbert then calculated how much gas he would need to have in his vehicle to make it from Dallas to Houston and then from Houston back to Dallas. After doing his calculations, Gilbert determined how much gas he was going to need to make it from Dallas to Houston and then from Houston back to Dallas. But because Gilbert only had limited resources, he needed to come up with a plan that would get him from Dallas to Houston and from Houston back to Dallas and still have gas to make the journey. Gilbert jumped into his vehicle one Saturday morning. He drove from Dallas to Houston with no problem. He spent the day with his friend, and after a day of fun and fellowship, it was now time for Gilbert to jump back into his vehicle and journey from Houston back to Dallas. Gilbert did his calculations one more time just to make sure that he had enough gas to make the journey. And he found out that he had exactly the amount of gas that he needed to make it from Houston back to Dallas. Gilbert jumped into his vehicle, he hopped on the highway, he began to drive, and just a few miles up the road, Gilbert noticed a McDonald's to his right. He noticed that McDonald's to his right, and when he saw that McDonald's to his right, he began to ramble around in his car to scrape up some loose change. And he found enough change to order him a double cheeseburger, a value fry, and a large sweet iced tea off the dollar menu at McDonald's. So without hesitation, when he found out that he had enough money to purchase him a double cheeseburger, a value fry, and a large sweet iced tea at McDonald's, Gilbert got off of the freeway, drove through the drive-thru of McDonald's, and ordered himself a meal. As Gilbert got his meal, he began to eat his meal as he traveled down the highway. But after eating that meal, you know that Gilbert's digestive system started to work real well. Because his digestive system started to work real well, Gilbert had to then get off the freeway again to find a convenience store that had a restroom where he could relieve himself.
Yes.
After Gilbert had relieved himself, he jumped back into his car and started driving up the highway again. But all of a sudden, Gilbert got sleepy. He got what we call the itis. That is, after you get through eating a healthy meal, all of a sudden you just get sleepy. Gilbert got sleepy. So what Gilbert decided to do was Gilbert decided to get off of the road again, pull over to the side of the road so that he could take himself a nap. But it was 102 degrees outside, so Gilbert could not sleep in a hot car. So he had to leave the engine running so that the AC would continue to blow. And after a 45-minute nap, Gilbert awoke to try to make it to Dallas. But 75 miles before Gilbert got to Dallas, he ran out of gas. As I thought about that story, I wondered to myself, why did Gilbert run out of gas? And it didn't take it long to dawn on me that Gilbert ran out of gas simply because he made too many unnecessary stops along the way. In a real sense, ladies and gentlemen, it has been brought to my attention in my 27 years on the face of this earth that, like Gilbert, many of you under the sound of my voice in this sacred space we call sanctuary fall short of reaching your goal because, like Gilbert, you just made too many unnecessary stops along the way. I know I'm right about it this morning because I'm looking at some people this morning who can help me testify that I should have had that college degree by now, but I just made too many unnecessary stops along the way. I could have had that house paid off by now. I just made too many unnecessary stops along the way. I could have had the man of my dreams, but I just got caught up in making too many unnecessary stops along the way. You under the sound of my voice this morning, you want to know why you have failed to reach the goal that you have set years ago? It's because you have made too many unnecessary stops along the way.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Gilbert could have made it from Houston back to Dallas had he not stopped at McDonald's. He would have made it from Houston back to Dallas had he not stopped at McDonald's. He would have not had to stop by the restroom. And if he did not stop by the restroom, he would have not gotten sleepy. And if he would have not gotten sleepy, he would have been made it to his goal that he had previously decided. But because he decided to make some unnecessary stops along the way, he fell short of reaching his goal. You can reach your goal if you do not make unnecessary stops along the way.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Question of the text is, how do you achieve your goals in life? Here in our selected text, the Holy Spirit, through the wise sayings of Solomon, teach how you and I can reach our goals in life. If you are going to reach your goal in life, church, hear me. It requires that you construct boundaries that benefit you.
All right.
If you are going to reach your goals in life, it requires that you construct boundaries, build boundaries that benefit, watch this word, you. In verse number 23 of our text, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 teaches us or instructs us to monitor what we allow to influence our daily behavior.
All right.
It instructs us, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, instructs us to monitor what we allow to influence our daily behavior, or it instructs us to monitor what we allow to influence our daily decisions. The text says, watch over your heart with all diligence. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for out of the heart flows the issues or the springs of life. Permit me to tell you, church, that if you do not watch over your own heart, somebody else will.
What you say?
If you do not guard your own heart, somebody else will. The instruction or the command or the encouragement is to watch over your heart with all diligence. The phrase "to watch over your heart with all diligence" paints the picture of a corrections officer who works in a prison or a jail. A correction officer does one of two things. His or her job is to keep what's supposed to be in jail, and to keep what's not supposed to be in jail from not coming into the place that it's not supposed to be. I'll give it to you one more time. A correction officer has one of two jobs. First, their job is to make sure that whoever's supposed to be in jail, they stay in jail. And whatever is not supposed to come into the prison, they have the job of making sure that it doesn't come inside of the prison. The phrase "to watch over your heart with all diligence" paints the picture of a correction officer who is making sure what stays in, and what is not supposed to be in stays out. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have the resources to hire our own personal bodyguard that will decide what goes into our hearts and what does not go into our hearts. Solomon's command to his son is that, son, you have to guard what goes into your heart. You have to decide what does not go into your heart. I can't do it for you no more. I've taught you everything I can teach you. I've taught you everything I can teach you. I've brought you every place I can bring you. I've done for you everything that I can do for you. But now, son, you are about to walk into a world all by yourself, and I can't protect you no more. You are going to have to learn how to protect yourself.
Amen.
He says you have to watch over your heart with all diligence. But I need to let you know one more time that if you don't watch over your heart, somebody else will.
Yeah.
If you don't establish your goals, you'll be living the goals of other people. Because other people will put in your heart what they want to put in your heart. And other people will take out of your heart what they want to take out of your heart. And as long as you let other people put what they want into your heart and take out of your heart what they want to take out of your heart, you'll find yourself living for other people and never living for yourself. I love you, mama, but I can't fulfill your goal. I gotta fulfill my goal. I love you, daddy, but I can't live your dream. I have to live my dream. I love you, auntie, uncle, sister, brother. You taught me a whole lot of things, but I ain't got time to do stuff for you. I gotta start doing something for me.
Yes, yes.
You have to guard your heart with all diligence. You have to guard your heart with all diligence. It simply suggests that you have to determine what you let go into your heart, and you have to determine what comes out of your heart.
Yes, sir.
Why is it important that you guard your heart? Why is it important that you monitor closely what you allow to come into your mind? The text says it's important for you to determine what you allow into your heart and or your mind, because what goes in inevitably has to come out.
Yes, sir.
If you put foolishness in your heart, then foolishness is what's going to come out. If you put somebody else's desires into your heart, then somebody else's desires is what's going to come out. If you put anything in your heart, whatever you put in there is inevitably going to come out of your heart. So you have to make sure that only what you put in your heart is what you need in your heart to reach your goal.
All right now.
And when you come across something that is not beneficial to where you are trying to go in your life, you got to construct a boundary that benefits you.
Yes, sir.
You got somewhere you're trying to go. Some no good person is trying to get your attention. But they are not beneficial to where you are determined to go. So what the text says, what the father says to his son is, son, you got to learn how to build boundaries. To block people off that are not beneficial to where you're going. Son, if you ever go make it to where you're going, if you ever go get that degree, if you ever go finish school, if you ever go do this, if you ever go have a family, if you ever go own a home, if you ever go have something nice in life, son, you got to have a goal, and then you got to construct boundaries that eliminate people and things that are keeping you from getting to where you want to be.
Amen.
Guard your heart with all diligence. If Gilbert would have built the boundary, he'd have made it to Dallas. If he had built a boundary, he would have never saw that McDonald's. And if he would have never saw that McDonald's, he'd have never had to relieve himself. And if he would have never had to relieve himself, then he would have never gotten sleepy and had to take a 45-minute nap. And if he would have never gotten sleepy and taken a 45-minute nap, then he would have had enough gas to get to where he was trying to go. But because Gilbert didn't have a boundary built in, he focused on what caught his attention, and it took him off course to get where he wanted to be. Y'all looking at me, but y'all ain't listening to me this morning. You could have made it to where you wanted to be in life by now had you just built a boundary. But it ain't never too late, because as the blood is still flowing warm in your veins, you have another chance to try to reach that goal that you should have reached 10 years ago. You just got to learn how to build some boundaries that benefit you.
Yes.
Because what you allow in will inevitably come out. There's some women present who had goals in their life, but they met Mr. Man. Mr. Man convinced them to do other things. And now they're looking at life saying, I could have been way down there if I'd have left Mr. Man alone.
Speak now.
There's some men who had good jobs, could have been running the company by now. They met Miss Thing.
Yes, Lord.
They were crazy about it. They end up showing up late to work trying to find out what she doing. Doing crazy stuff. Trying to find out what this person is doing. And the job said, look, we no longer need your services. And so now, they're working odd jobs trying to make ends meet. Because they didn't set boundaries that benefited them. But inevitably, what you let into your heart will dictate how you live your life. So when things or people come into your life that are not beneficial to where you are going, you need to build a boundary that keeps you focused on your target.
Amen.
Here's the problem. Often we get sidetracked, not because we don't have a boundary built, but because we don't know where we're going in the first place.
Wait a second.
So why build a boundary when I don't even know where I'm going?
Show enough.
Hear me, church. If you are going to achieve your goal in life implies that you have to have a goal to start with.
Show enough.
If you don't have a goal, you're just walking around in circles, not going anywhere, hoping that somebody will come along and give you purpose. But you already got a purpose. You just got to find out what it is, focus on that, build you some boundaries, and only let in your heart what is beneficial to your success into your heart. So because out of the heart flows the issues of life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you put hatred in your heart,
My Lord.
hatred is what's going to come out. If you put jealousy into your heart, jealousy is what's going to come out. But if you put love in your heart, love will flow out. If you put peace in your heart, peace will flow out. If you put success in your heart, then success inevitably has to come out, because out of the heart, the text says, flows the issues of life.
Yes,
You ain't feeling the tension of the text. The picture of that he's painting here when he says out of the heart flows the issues of life is the picture of a river flowing with fresh water. A river flowing with fresh water is not beneficial to anything other than that which is connected to the river. You know Psalm chapter 1, you know what it says, don't you? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law does he meditate both night and day. Therefore he shall be like a tree planted by the river of water that brings forth its fruit in its season. Whatever he does shall prosper, and his leaves shall not wither. It's because the tree is planted by the source of life. If you want your dreams or your goals to be achieved, you got to put good stuff in your river, so that when your river starts flowing, it will make prosperous everything that's connected to your river.
Amen. Amen.
Out of the heart flows the issues of life.
Yes, sir.
Because fresh water is in the river can only produce fresh water. And everybody connected to the river is blessed because of the river. Trying to accomplish success is contagious. When you are ambitious about what you want to achieve in your life, you attract other ambitious people. But when you don't have a clue about where you're going, you attract other people who don't have a clue about where they're going. And two people that don't have a clue about where they are or where they're going will stay right where they are. But if you are ambitious about what you want to achieve in life, you will attract people who are just as ambitious as you. And when two people or three people or more people get together and they start putting these ambitious ideas together, they can start a fire that can't nobody put out.
All right. Thank you, Lord.
When you find out where you're going, there will inevitably be distractions. So what you need to do is you need to build boundaries that benefit you. Only let in your heart what is beneficial to your success. I'll say it one time and I'm moving. Only let in your heart what is beneficial to your success.
Amen.
You got to build boundaries that benefit you. But in addition to constructing boundaries that benefit you, if you are going to achieve your goals in life, the text also teaches us that you have to communicate the truth at all times. Construct boundaries that benefit you, but then verse 24 teaches us that you have to communicate the truth at all times. Text says, put away from you a deceitful mouth, and put devious speech far from you. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 24 instructs us to refrain from manipulating the truth to get ahead. The text, verse 24, teaches us not to manipulate the truth trying to get ahead. I think I need to tell you that you shouldn't lie to anybody. But if you go lie to other people, the one person you shouldn't lie to, is you.
That's right.
If you're going to achieve your goal in life, you have to learn to be honest with yourself.
Amen.
I know you want to be an engineer, but you don't know a lick of math.
What you say?
You got to be honest with yourself.
Amen.
I know you want to be this, and I know you want to do that, but the truth of the matter is, you just got to be honest with yourself. Because when you start lying to yourself, you'll also start disappointing yourself.
Yes, sir.
But when you're honest with yourself, you can reach your goal because it's realistic.
All right.
You walk around talking about you the smartest person on the planet.
Ooh, watch out.
That just ain't true. And so you start forming unrealistic goals. You got to learn to communicate the truth at all times. He says, put away from you a deceitful mouth, and put devious speech away from you. He's really speaking about social encounters, manipulating people, trying to get them to think you're something that you're not, because you're trying to get ahead. He says the best way to get ahead is just to be honest with yourself. In other words, stop lying to people. So stop trying to make yourself look like more than you are. Watch me here, church. If you don't hear nothing else I say, hear this morning. When you lie to people, you hurt yourself more than you help yourself.
That's right.
You talking to a person, watch me now, who's been dying to give $10,000 to somebody. He said, the next person that I come in contact with who needs $10,000, I'm going to give it to him. But you showed up lying, acting like you got it going on, so he assumed that you didn't need what he wanted to give you.
Right.
So you just missed what you could have had your back just told the truth in the first place.
Show enough, show enough.
Nobody achieves anything by themselves. You need other people working with you who are just as ambitious as you are, but they will only help you when you are honest with yourself. Nobody pulled up themselves by their own bootstraps. Nobody graduated college without a study buddy. Nobody ain't graduate high school without somebody verifying their work. Nobody did anything by themselves. But if you want help, you have to be honest with yourself. You sitting in the class and you don't understand nothing the teacher said. But everybody then puffed up your mind about how smart and how brilliant you are. So you got to hold up that demeanor. I'm smart and I'm brilliant. But you don't get what they talking about. And because you are not honest with yourself, you ended up failing a class that you could have passed had you just been honest with yourself and said, I need some help. He says, son, if you go achieve your goal, you got to be honest. Don't lie and try to manipulate people to get ahead. Just be honest and you'll get ahead. There was a lady by the name of Jenny. She was a dean of a prestigious university. She had high hopes of becoming the president of that university. But the reality was the sitting president didn't plan on retiring anytime soon. Unfortunately, a sickness came upon the president that was currently holding the position. A sickness that was so devastating that the president was forced into retirement. The presidential position became available and Jenny was excited about it. But when they posted the position and she looked at the requirements, it said that one of the requirements to hold the presidential office at this prestigious university was that you had to have a doctoral degree. Jenny only had a master's degree. So what Jenny decided to do was she removed her diploma from its frame. She scanned it into her computer and manipulated the diploma to say that she had received a doctorate degree from the same school that she received her master's. Jenny was well known at the university. They accepted her application, they accepted her degrees, and would you believe they even gave her the position? Jenny walked into that presidential office, she hung up her false diploma. She sat in the presidential chair, she sat in the office, but word got out that nobody remembered Jenny ever going back to school. So they started to do some research. They contacted the institution where Jenny said that she had got her doctoral degree from and found out that Jenny didn't have a doctorate degree at all. So what they did was they took Jenny out of her presidential position that she only got to enjoy temporarily. But not only did they take her from her presidential position, they fired her from the university. Jenny went from being the dean of a presidential university to being a kindergarten teacher, what she was 20 years ago. Instead of going forward, Jenny went backward because she tried to manipulate the truth to get ahead. Lying to other people and lying to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, may bring you two steps forward, but it'll bring you 5 steps back. If you are going to achieve your goals in life, you got to learn to communicate the truth at all times. The Bible says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. If you're going to achieve your goals in life, you got to construct boundaries that benefit you. You have to communicate the truth at all times. But the text teaches us one more thing in verses 25, 26, and 27. If you are going to achieve your goals in life, it requires that you consider the lessons you've learned. Construct boundaries that benefit you. Communicate the truth at all times. And consider the lessons you've learned. In verses 25 and 27, Solomon encourages us to learn the lessons that our parents tried to teach us. This passage is a digression of thought. Hear me, it is a digression of thought. That is, constructing boundaries happens after you communicate the truth. And communicating the truth happens after you learn the lessons that your parents tried to teach you. You don't know any truth unless you learned what the truth is from your parents. So you cannot communicate what you do not know. But after you have learned the lessons that your parents tried to teach you, you are then able to communicate the truth at all times based on what you know to be true, based on what your parents have tried to teach you. And once you have learned the lessons your parents taught you, and once you have learned to communicate the truth at all times, then you know the boundaries that you need to build in order to make it where you're trying to go. Solomon gives this digression of thought to say, son, this is the most important lesson that you can learn in life, and that is you better learn how to hold on to what I taught you.
All right now.
Text says, let your eye look directly ahead, and let your gaze be fixed straight in front of you. Verse 25, Solomon encourages his son to protect the lessons that he learned from him. Let your eye be directly ahead. Son, look straight and go forward. To let your eye look straight ahead deals with or means to receive the information that your parents have taught you. When Solomon instructs his son to look straight, he's instructing him to hold on to the lessons he learned. It's because your eye, not your ear, in this proverb is the means by which you understand. Hear me. When you're sitting in a classroom and you're listening to a teacher teach, your main mode of learning is your ear. You hear what they say, and what you heard flows through your mind for your mind to comprehend it. But Solomon tells his son to receive what I'm telling you with your eye. Y'all ain't feeling the tension of the text, and y'all don't know what Solomon talking about. Let me help you.
Come on.
Solomon was the most prosperous king Israel had ever known. If you know anything about Solomon, Solomon had it going on. Every time you saw Solomon, he was in a three-piece suit with the gator boots. Every time you saw Solomon, he had a ring on every finger. Every time you showed up at Solomon's house, everything was decked out. Solomon got new furniture every day. There ain't no time you showed up at the palace and you saw Solomon in the same thing twice. Solomon just had it going on like that. God had blessed Solomon, but Solomon was favored by the Lord with wisdom. Solomon had understanding about life, and Solomon used what he understood about life to build a wonderful empire. Therefore, he says, son, you ought to do what I say. Daddy, why should I do it? Use your eyes and see that everything I have, I got what I got because of the same things I'm telling you.
All right.
If you want stuff like this, son, look straight with your eyes. He's telling his son, why wouldn't you want to do what I'm telling you? Look at what I have accomplished with the same information that I'm giving to you. I won't be hard on parents this morning, but allow me to suggest for those raising small children that you have to give your children a reason to listen to you.
Amen.
I say it again. You got to give your children a reason to listen to what you're talking about. Let me tell you a bad reason, because I'm your mom. or my mother's favorite. I brought you in this world. Y'all got the same mother. Whether she believed it, whether she meant that or not, she said it, I believe it. But that's not a good reason for your children to do what you say. To give your children a good reason to do what you say is to do it yourself. You ever whoop your child for doing something you did? Or are doing? You have to knock their head off their shoulders, and after you just got through whooping them for what they did, you went and did the same thing. In fact, they got it. So Solomon says you got to see with your eyes. The question is, you leaving, and I want to give you some advice, and you're wondering, why should I listen to the advice you're giving me? Solomon says, look at what I've accomplished with the same advice that I'm giving to you right now.
Yes.
So then he commands him in the latter half of verse 25 to let your gaze be fixed straight in front of you. This is probably a bad English translation, because the Hebrew word used for gazed here in the text literally means your eyelid. That eyelid, or your eyelid, is that thing below your eyebrow. It has one sole purpose, although you try to dress it up, you attach lashes to it. It only has one purpose, and its purpose is not to make you look scrumptious. The purpose of your eyelid is simply, watch me, to protect your eye.
Yes. Yes.
But you want to protect your eye in style. I got it.
Okay.
The purpose of your eyelid is simply to protect your eye. So when Solomon tells his son to let his gaze be straight in front of you, he's literally telling his son to protect the information that I gave you. Guard these lessons that I've taught you with your heart. Don't just lay these lessons down. Don't just disregard these lessons, because these lessons will help you achieve your goals in life.
Yes, sir.
That's a story my Pastor H.B. Charles, loves to tell. It's about a man named Jimmy. Jimmy told his mother, Mama, I'm gone. I'm about tired of being in your house. I'm tired of living by your rules. I'm tired of doing what you say do. And Mama says, son, please don't leave. Mama didn't want him to leave because Mama knew that he wasn't ready to leave. Mama knows her children. She knows who's ready to do something, and she knows who's not ready to do something. So Mama didn't want her son Jimmy to leave, not because she was trying to hold on to him and make him a mama's boy, but Mama didn't want Jimmy to leave because Mama knew that Jimmy was not going to be able to survive on his own. So Mama, when she saw that Jimmy was intent on leaving the house, she said, if you must go, then do Mama a favor and take Mama's Bible with you. Jimmy looked at his mother and reasoned to himself by simply saying, if all I got to do is take that Bible to get out of here, then I'm gone. Give me the Bible, I'm gone. Jimmy took that Bible, he got his trash bag, filled it with all his clothes, and Jimmy went on down the street. Jimmy went out and he lived however he wanted to live. He did whatever he wanted to do, but soon and very soon, Jimmy had lost everything that he had. In fact, the only thing that Jimmy had left was that Bible that his mama had gave him. And one day, as Mama was sitting on the porch rocking in her rocking chair, she noticed a familiar structure walking up the sidewalk. It was her son Jimmy who was returning home. Jimmy sat down on the porch, and for about a minute or two it was awkward silence. But then Jimmy opened his mouth and said, Mama, I just couldn't make it by myself. And all his mama wanted to know was, son, do you have my Bible? He said, yeah, mama, I got your Bible. In fact, your Bible is the only thing I got left. She said, son, did you use the Bible? He said, yes, mama, I used the Bible. I used it just as you gave it to me. She said, no, son, you didn't use the Bible. He said, mama, how you know? She said, give me the Bible. She opened up that big old church woman Bible, unzipped that thing, and she said, I know you didn't use it because I knew that you was going to run out of money, so I left you $100 by Psalm 100 so that you can know that the Lord will be with you always. I know you wasn't going to use this Bible. I know you was going to run into some trouble all along the way, so I left you another $100 by Psalm 150. I left you $100 by Ephesians chapter 1. I left you $100 by this. I left you $100 by that. Ain't no good to give you something if you ain't going to use it.
What you say? What you say?
Solomon says, son, hold on to what I gave you. But don't just hold it.
Use it.
Use it.
Preaching.
Protect it. In verse 26, Solomon says, consider the consequences of the course you circle. Watch the path of your feet, and all your ways will be established. This language is the picture of a circular track, or just a track in general, which has a starting point, and the starting point is also the finishing point. In a real sense, Solomon is telling his son that I've ran this track before. I'm familiar with this track. I know where the bumps are in the track. I know where the dips are in the track. I know where the road humps are in the track. I know where the stop signs are. I know where the yield signs are in the track. And son, the lessons that I'm trying to teach you is I'm trying to teach you how to keep on running when you come to a stop sign.
All right now.
How do you know that, Daddy? Because I've traveled the same track that you about to run on. I've been where you're trying to go. I've accomplished what you are trying to accomplish. And the lessons that I'm teaching you now, you have to hold on to them. But don't go nowhere without a plan.
All right.
So he says you have to consider the consequences of your actions. The real sense Solomon is telling his son, son, as long as you were here at home, when I saw you getting into trouble, I protected you from the trouble you was about to get yourself into. When I saw you making a bad decision, I stepped in and I corrected that decision before you could get yourself into trouble. I steered you, I shielded you, because I knew the consequences of your actions, and I knew that what you were doing was going to hurt you, not help you. But now, son, you finna get out my house. And I won't be able to predict the consequences. I won't be able to consider the consequences for you. You are going to have to consider the consequences for yourself. So the best advice I can give to you is to watch your feet. Watch the path of your feet. Watch where you go. Watch what you do. And everything will be established. But do it beforehand. Before you run this race, before you jump out and try to achieve something, Solomon says, sit down and plan it out. And when you are planning out how you are going to achieve your goal, this is where communicating the truth comes in. It's in the planning session. When you're planning, when you're constructing, when you're trying to figure out where you're going in your life, you got to be honest with yourself. And it's in the planning session that you also construct those boundaries. It's as you're planning your life, it's as you're planning how to achieve your goal that you start being honest with yourself, and you start being honest with yourself and say, I have a weakness for this, so I need to build a boundary there so I don't get distracted. Solomon says, son, think about what you're doing before you do it. In fact, that's what my grandfather asked me. He said, Mommy, Papa, I'm gone. He said, son, you know what you're doing? I was honest. I said, no. But you got to start somewhere. And what he did was he gave me advice. He did what Solomon is doing right now. But the last thing Solomon wants you to know is the most important thing. Your planning is all good. Your constructing boundaries is wonderful. All that stuff will help you to achieve your goal. But Solomon says, I told you it was a digression of thought. Solomon is going down to his main point. Don't think that just because you got a well-constructed plan that everything is going to be all right. Solomon says, no, do all of that other stuff, but don't you dare forget about the Lord.
All right.
This is what it means when it says, do not turn to the right nor to the left. Turn your foot from evil. In a real sense, Solomon is telling his son that the best way you can achieve your goals in life is to stay away from stuff that God does not agree with.
All right.
If you really want to live a successful life, keep your foot from displeasing God. And if God is pleased with you, that's when God will open up doors that no man can close. That's when God will close doors that no man can open. That's when God will make your plans a reality.
Amen.
When you keep your foot from evil. Not that you have a plan so much. Not that you know where the dips are in life, not that you know where the stop signs in life, not that you know where the yield signs in life, but the fact that you are successful is the fact that you have tried to live a life that is pleasing in the eyesight of God. So son, go off the couch. Go enjoy yourself. Go to the frat party. Go enjoy yourself. I know what you're going to do. Go have a